a weight loss journey where I lost 100 pounds in only 4 months, and I did this by eating ketogenic foods. And doing this accelerated my weight loss. I understand that it can be difficult trying to figure out what exact foods to eat and how to eat them and even how to start the keto diet. So I am here to give you my top 10 list of ketogenic foods that you should have in your fridge for you to be able to successfully complete the keto diet. Hi everyone, and welcome back to my channel. Here we are again today with another video. If you don't know who I am, or if you're new to my channel, I lost 130 pounds by doing keto, intermittent fasting, and exercising in a fasted state. And I did lose 100 pounds in only 4 months on the ketogenic diet, and is mainly what I talk about most on my channel. And so today I am going to tell you 10 specific ketogenic foods that you should have in your fridge. The ketogenic diet is a very strict way of eating, but it is very beneficial because it allows your body to get in a natural state of ketosis. Ketosis is our natural intermittent fasted state where our body uses our fat for energy instead of our sugar for energy. It is an adaptive mechanism that we have within inside of ourselves. We can use it to benefit our health and for also weight loss results. The ketogenic diet is made out of high unsaturated fat, moderate protein, and low to almost zero carbs. The unsaturated fats are going to be coming from natural things that have oils in them, such as avocado oil or olive oil, coconut oil, or any type of dairy product. 20% of your daily caloric intake is going to be coming from protein, and any meat is going to be your protein source for the keto diet. And then 5% of your daily caloric intake is going to be coming from non-starchy vegetables. There's absolutely no sugar on this diet, and on top of that, you cannot exceed the number of 50 net carbs per day. The ketogenic diet is also usually combined with intermittent fasting. You can do any type of intermittent fasting method while you are on this diet. When I first started out, I did do the 16 to 8 intermittent fasting method, and then I transitioned into doing OMAD, but you can do any type of intermittent fasting method. I lost 100 pounds in 4 months by eating ketogenic foods, and what ketogenic foods are basically foods that don't have any sugar or any carbs in them. I know almost every single food has an amount of carbs, but usually the foods on keto have very, very low carbs, so 1 to 2 to 3 net carbs per serving. I do have specific videos on exactly how to start the ketogenic diet or keto diet grocery hauls if you guys are interested in seeing actual products that you can get while you are following keto. So this is my list of the 10 ketogenic foods that you need in your fridge to successfully complete the ketogenic diet. The first food that you absolutely need, or at least my favorite food to eat, you guys see this in almost every single video, is avocados. Number one, I think avocados are really good, but on top of that, avocados are really good as a vegetable and for fat. Avocados are a good source of unsaturated fat. They have natural oil, and on top of that, they do have a little bit of sugar, I believe about 2 grams of sugar, but that doesn't really matter. It's actually good to have about 1 to 2 grams of sugar on the ketogenic diet so your blood sugar does not get too low. On the ketogenic diet, you would usually eat avocados as a main source of fat instead of a vegetable, but of course you could also use them for dual purposes. The next ketogenic food that you absolutely need within your fridge is butter. Now butter is really, really good to use because you could use it to cook with, you can put it on top of foods to flavor it, you can put it on top of meat, and it is a source of, I believe, saturated fat. Dairy products are saturated fat. Saturated fats are things that easily melt, so usually any type of dairy products. On the ketogenic diet, you can eat saturated fat and unsaturated fat. The difference between the both is unsaturated fat is more like oils and saturated fat is more dairy, but trans fat is the thing that you need to stay away from, which is processed fat. Speaking of saturated fat, the next item that I would recommend for you to have in your fridge if you are following the ketogenic diet is cheese. Cheese is a really good thing to use because it tastes good to a lot of people, and on top of that, it is very easy to add. You can add cheese to broccoli, you can add cheese with your meat, you can really use it for anything, and that would be a good way of getting your saturated fat in. Even if you want to follow keto and you want to stay away from foods that have a lot of dairy in it, you can use something like almond cheese. That's usually what I eat because I am a vegan, and that allows me to get my fat in on the ketogenic diet but also stay away from copious amounts of dairy. The next foods that I would recommend for you to have in your fridge if you are following the ketogenic diet is any type of meat. Meat is going to be 20% of your protein. It's really significant to have when you are following the ketogenic diet. If you are following regular keto, almost every single meal needs meat. That is how you are going to get your source of protein. But usually if you put your meals together with some sort of saturated fat, specifically like butter or cheese, and then you put a piece of meat on your plate and then non-starchy vegetables, that would be your kind of perfect ketogenic dish, and I try to make all of my what I eat in a day videos in this manner. The next ketogenic food that you need to have in your fridge is heavy cream. And I say heavy cream because you can make ice cream out of it using some sugar alcohol like erythritol or monk fruit. You can put it in coffee and make bulletproof coffee. It's really good to also get your saturated fat in. As I said previously, saturated fat is any type of dairy product, but I just want to warn you that heavy cream does have a lot of calories. Fat has about 9 calories per gram, and especially with heavy cream, if you use too much of it, it can stall your weight loss. I believe only like a tablespoon of heavy cream is about 50 calories, so if you put too much in it, it can stall your weight loss. The next ketogenic staple food that I believe that you should have within your fridge or within your pantry are nuts. Now, nuts are a really good source of fat. On top of that, a really good source of nutrients. They are one of the superfoods along with avocados, so they are really good to eat. The only problem with nuts is that they do have a large amount of carbs, and especially if you are on the ketogenic diet, you're trying to balance your hormones and limit your hunger and lose weight by doing this, and if you do overeat on nuts, you can feel hungrier. But nuts are a really good source of unsaturated fat because of the oils that they have inside of them, so they are really good for making you feel full. If you have 1 to 2 handfuls with one of your meals for the day, that could be a really good mechanism to help you feel less hungrier throughout the day. The next ketogenic food that I recommend for you to have in your fridge is berries. I know sugar is not allowed on the ketogenic diet and you usually cannot eat fruit, but you can eat fruit with the exception of strawberries, berries, and I believe avocados, since those are considered a fruit, and then of course tomatoes. And you can only eat these fruits because they have a low glycemic index, they have low amounts of net carbs, and low amounts of total sugars. When you are on the ketogenic diet, sometimes your blood sugar does get too low because, especially if you are on a big long weight loss journey, you are constantly fasted, your blood sugar is going to constantly be lower than usual just because you are not consuming any sugar on that diet. And even though we don't necessarily need to consume sugar every single day, we still have to make sure that our blood sugar is okay and that we aren't starving ourselves. So berries could be a really good thing to eat if you guys are feeling a little bit sick, or if you guys aren't having enough energy while you are on the ketogenic diet. It would be the perfect food to reset kind of your insulin and your blood sugar if you aren't feeling too well. The next ketogenic food that I believe that you should have with inside of your fridge is avocado oil, or any type of cooking oil. As I mentioned before with avocado and butter, avocado oil is a source of unsaturated fat because of its natural oil, and I usually use avocado oil to cook with along with butter. It helps me flavor my food, and in addition to that, it allows me to get my fat without having to use a lot of dairy. I usually don't like to add a lot of dairy within my ketogenic meals because I know a lot of people are lactose intolerant. About 70 to 90% of people are lactose intolerant and dairy is really hard on our digestive systems. So avocado oil, coconut oil, or any type of cooking oil would be perfect for you to use. The next ketogenic food that I believe that you should have in your fridge to successfully complete the ketogenic diet are eggs. Now, eggs have perfect macros within its own ratio, meaning it has perfect amounts of high unsaturated fat, moderate protein, zero carbs itself. Usually, if people are trying to start keto or are trying to start intermittent fasting, they will do something called an egg fast or an egg diet. It's literally when you only eat eggs, butter, and cheese for about 3 days. And I know that sounds kind of disgusting, but I actually did the same thing to start keto. And a lot of ketogenic what I eat in a days, you'll see people having bacon with avocado and eggs, because eggs allows you to balance your meals and its macros because it naturally has high unsaturated fat and zero carbs in it. And the last ketogenic foods that I would recommend for you to have with inside of your fridge are non-starchy vegetables. Now, I know this is a no-brainer, but I don't think a lot of people understand what non-starchy vegetables are. Basically, starchy vegetables are vegetables that have a high amount of carbs. These things are more starches and more grains rather than vegetables, but they're still considered in this category, such as rice, such as beans, and things of that nature. You have to absolutely stay away from those things because they will kick you out of ketosis. If you have non-starchy vegetables with inside of your fridge, such as lettuce, such as broccoli, asparagus, cucumbers, anything of that nature, it'll be easier for you to pair your meals with. You're going to have to eat these vegetables with every single meal, and you cannot eat any vegetables that have a high amount of carbs. In addition to these foods, absolutely no foods of any processed nature. You have to stay away from processed food, sugar, and especially carbs that exceed the number of 50. This video mostly talks about regular keto, but I do have a vegan keto grocery haul if you guys are interested in that. And I know a lot of people are asking me to make a vegan keto video, but that is going to be on my second YouTube channel instead of my first one, because this one is mainly about how I lost 100 pounds in 4 months. On top of that, I am going to be having group coaching sessions where you guys can personally ask me questions about my own weight loss journey. I know that a lot of people have a lot of questions and they want to do the same thing, especially in a healthy manner, and I am going to be here to help you guys. You guys can look up more information about what I did and my group coaching sessions on my website. Thank you guys so much for watching this video, and I will see you in the next one.